Well, we have like our trainer Mark Nemish, our like strength and conditioning coach. He gives us all a pretty elaborate program, like day-to-day program to do throughout the summer, and then guys kind of tweak it themselves, do different things. Guys have their own guys back home, but it's a lot of like obviously legs and core stuff, and then to me, like for me, I do cardio 6 times a week just because if I don't, I'll pack the weight on pretty quick. You know, drinking in the summer and the weekend and not eating great is a bad combo, so I like to do a lot of cardio.
Do you guys focus on nutrition a lot during the season then?
It's reversed. During the season, it's not as bad because you're burning so many calories that you can kind of get away with things. It's more in the summer that you have to watch it because no matter what you do in the gym, it's not the same as being on the ice for an hour, and like especially hard practice. So if you're not careful in the summer and you eat the way you do, because we eat a ton of carbs and stuff during the season. So if you eat like that all summer, then you'll come back way out of shape. So you got to kind of balance that.
Have you read your coach's book?
No, I can't read actually.
So
I will sooner or later, but I haven't yet. So I heard it's pretty. You know, he's been in hockey a long time, and he's got a ton of really interesting stories. So it'll, especially he's got a bunch of stories about back in the day with you know, some of the guys I grew up idolizing and stuff. So it'll be an interesting read, I think.
I want to thank you for the fun and excitement of the Capitals.
Oh, I appreciate it. We all appreciate it, and it's. I know I've said this a ton, but the atmosphere right now at home really makes you happy to be at home, and it really lifts us up the way. There's no other place especially during the regular season that's as loud as a Verizon. So it is a big advantage, and it's fun to play there. I got a young son coming though, so I don't think I can bring him. It's too loud.
Congratulations. First one?
First one, yeah. December 2nd is the due date, so I'm just hoping I'm not
soon.
I'm hoping I'm not too far on the road somewhere that I don't get back, because my wife will kill me if I'm not back for the birth. But
you never really have it.
So it wouldn't be worth it.
No.
If I have to miss a game, hey, we gotta miss a game, right?
Yeah.
Are you a Senators fan?
When I was growing up, before the Senators came back, I was a Bruins fan, and my favorite player was always Cam Neely. And then when Ottawa came back, my dad owned a grocery store, and we were lucky enough he got season tickets and usually gave it to staff or whatever. But myself, I got to go to a lot of games, and I mean NHL hockey is NHL hockey. They were pretty bad at the start, but it was still great to watch. And even now, I mean, if we're not in it anymore, and there's another game, I'll cheer for Ottawa just because I'm a hometown guy, right? So. As long as we beat them, it's all. As far as hazing goes, we don't really do that anymore. The only thing we do is make the rookies pay for a rookie meal, which, if it was my choice, I'd take the hazing any day because the rookie meals aren't cheap. Like we'll go to Morton's or whatever, the most expensive steakhouse you can think, and it's basically free reign for wine and whatever the veterans want. So you can imagine how you got the trainers too, so almost 30 guys, and say you have 2 rookies, they have to split the bill, and believe me, everyone's drinking expensive wine and expensive everything, and they have to pay for it at the end. So that's really all we do to them. But
that's all. When is that? Is that coming up soon? Or?
It changes all the time. I think I don't even know what we're doing. Like last year, we did it in LA, which was the worst place to do it because everything in LA is twice as much to begin with, right? So like a beer here that'd be $5 is $10 there anyway. So we racked up a pretty good bill, but. It's just something, it's a kind of tradition thing, just like growing beers in playoffs, it's just something that we do, and it's a great meal for the veterans.
You're better off getting called up later in the season.
Yeah, well, that's the crappy part is sometimes a guy will get called up and it'll be up long enough, we make a judgment call. If a guy just got called up, we're not going to make him pay for the meal. But if it's a guy who's been up for a month or two, we'll make him pay. And I've known guys who got called up, been paid, or paid for the meal, and got sent down and never got called back up again. So that's an expensive.
The meal wasn't big enough.
Yeah, that's an expensive meal. They probably want their money back, but it's just part of the game, and you hope that doesn't happen. So.
What do the assistant coaches do during the game?
They do a ton of stuff, and the best way I can explain it is, like Bruce Bruce obviously is in charge, but when you know, if I'm unhappy about something or whatever, the first person I'll probably go to is Dean Evison, because you know they're the assistant coaches are there to more talk to the guys and kind of get a feel of how the guys are feeling and stuff. And they can relate that back to Bruce. Like Bruce is a great coach as far as being able to talk to and stuff, but some coaches. Like I've had coaches that I never talk to, like head coaches that you just never talk to. It's just the way it was. So you use the assistant coaches as kind of your buffer in between the head coach and the players. And also, I mean, Dean and Bob Woods are great hockey guys. So you know they help with the power play and penalty kill, and I mean they do a lot behind the scenes that they don't get recognition for. And they're I mean without them we wouldn't work the way we do. Some guys have problems with that.
We do too.
Including myself sometimes. It's you know it. I mean, we like to say like 35 to 45 seconds is kind of an ideal time, because you know you're supposed to be out there working hard for the whole time. But you know, you guys know there's times when you're just gliding around, you're not getting tired. So, and it depends on the situation too. If it's a power play, and Ovi's out there, he'll probably stay out for the full 2 minutes. But you want him out there for the full 2 minutes because he's such a threat to score. But you know, if say my line's out there and I stay out a minute and 10 seconds and my line mates change 45 seconds, that means that I took, say Chris Clark is coming on after me, I took his ice time, so no, he's going to stay out later. So then it's almost like a trickle down effect, and then it just messes everything up. So you really, and the other thing too is, even if you're not tired and you see both your line mates change, that's a pretty good cue that you should get off the ice. But I mean, the most important thing is you never want to change when you're going to put your team in harm's way. So if like you're in the defensive zone, you're not going to change, or if they're on a break back and you're chasing, you're not going to change. So.
But is it self-discipline?
Yeah, I mean it's like sometimes guys stay out too long. It's just like taking a bad penalty. It's a selfish thing. Like, and I mean like I've done it a ton of times. You know, you don't want to come off. You want to stay out there and try to score or whatever. And like you said, it's a discipline thing that you have to. You know, even if you're not tired at 40, 45 seconds, you should be looking to come off.
No, hi. Sorry, my snitch.
That's an easy one. Thanks.
Thank you.
How much has your signature changed since you started?
Well, I remember in junior, because I played junior in Canada, and we'd have like autograph signing sessions, say twice a year, and you're like MATT. There might have been 50 people there, you know. And even for me, it's not that bad. It's more guys like Ovi. They have to develop a pretty quick signature, just because it'd be unfair to have a slow signature for a guy like him, because there's so many people you'd miss people, right? For me, it's not bad. Mine's pretty quick, but it doesn't need to be quick. But for guys like Ovi and Greeny and those guys, they have to. It's always not super legible, but that's the way it has to be, because if everyone wants to get an autograph,
Do you perceive your role has changed on the team now that Brashear's gone?
Not really. I mean, as you know, I mean, I have 2 fights this year. Clarkie has 2. Hurst might have 1. Like, that's 5 fights in 16 games. I think the game's changing a bit. You don't need to have a super heavyweight, and I mean, for a guy like me, is never going to fight a guy like Brash. I mean, if it really came down to it, I would have to. Maybe I'd have to do it, but it's not good for me to fight a guy like him.
That's when you said seminar, right?
But no, it is. Nowadays, it's more. I mean, you have guys that are willing to do it, but it's not something that you need a guy that goes out strictly to do that. It's obviously part of the game, but now you need guys who can play, and if they need to do that, so.